Bryse Wilson worked himself into a little bit of trouble yesterday against the Tigers. And as he did, his pitch count was approaching right there where Derek Shelton had been pulling him in his previous couple of starts because he was coming off the IL. And all you're thinking, I'll bet, is the same thing I was up in the press box, and that's this: let him pitch. Let him pitch. And he did. And good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer up daily shots of Steelers and Penguins, the other two teams that I cover, right where you found this. The Pirates beat Detroit 6-3. Pretty overall satisfying win from what I gathered afterward for the club. Ended a 6-game losing streak, ended all that wretched ugliness over the weekend at Wrigley with a clean, sometimes superlative defensive performance and a couple of big hits from Ke'Bryan Hayes and Yoshi Tsutsugo. Between that and David Bednar coming in with a really dominant save at the end, it was easy to forget that Bryse Wilson had even participated. But he's one of those guys that I keep talking about who matter. He's 23 years old, and ever since he's come over from the Braves in the trade that sent Richard Rodriguez down there, he's been okay. I guess that's the best word that I can attach to him. Okay. In this one, he's charged with 3 runs on 6 hits and a couple walks over 6 innings. He struck out 4. But the thing that's going to kind of define it is that he went into that 6th inning with nothing but zeros up there. So in the 6th inning, he's out there. The Tigers put guys all over the base paths. And Wilson's getting right there toward that 75 pitch limit that the medical staff had assigned following his brief stint on the IL for, of all things, arm fatigue. So you got to be smart here. And I'm thinking Shelton's going to come and get him. And he didn't. And I'm thinking, oh, good. Well, for one, that means the medical concern has been allayed. And 2, going to let the kid try to pitch out of it. Let's see what he's got. These meaningless September games, at least learn something along the way, right? And that whole warm and fuzzy fizzled in a big hurry when Wilson laid up just a meatball of a changeup, just not at all a good pitch to Nico Goodrum, who lasered it down the right field chalk for a double that brought home a couple of runs. And after that, Miguel Cabrera came up as a pinch hitter and hit a sac fly. No shame in giving that up. Miggy can do that in his sleep. But Wilson walks off the mound, after that inning with not the line that he had when he took the mound for that inning. And it just wasn't a great feel. And that's how a lot of his starts have been so far, at least from my perspective. It hasn't been something where you say, hey, they might really have something here. Here's what Wilson had to say about getting the opportunity to get out of that jam.
Oh, I mean, it means a ton. It means a lot to me that, he had that trust in me. I felt like I was cruising there through 5, and then going back through the lineup, third time through, I was very confident. And, I knew how I wanted to attack the hitters. Missed a couple spots. But overall, I think the attack plan was good. I think the stamina that I had going through, I think it was good. I felt strong in the 6th inning. But, it means a lot that, he has that trust in me and, allowed me to get that opportunity.
I hope you can pick up just from hearing him talk. This is a pretty bright kid. He's got his head squarely on his shoulders, and he's not someone who's going to struggle with the thinking components of the game. He has, I think, a higher ceiling than what we've seen. He also has a multiple pitch arsenal. He has a lot of different offerings, and he uses them throughout the game. The question that's going to come up with Wilson in Pittsburgh is the same one that I've heard kind of tailed him, and not in a good way, through his tenure in Atlanta, including in the minor leagues, where he's seen as having a couple of pitches that are major league effective, not least of which, most importantly, is the four-seamer. But the rest of his stuff is seen as kind of ordinary. And that's tough territory to be a starter in today's major leagues. You're going to have to come with more than that, or they're going to start looking at you as a bullpen guy. In my eyes, there's absolutely no doubt that the Pirates should and will open the 2022 season with Wilson in the rotation. And yes, I'm saying this for the painfully obvious reason that they really don't have a whole lot. That's not going to mean that Cherington can't go and add guys. I think there's going to be a Tyler Anderson or two that he'd do well to find in free agency this winter. But Wilson, at his age and with his experience level, and it's unusual because he's got parts of 3 seasons with the Braves where he'd come up, he'd make a cameo and then go back down, and now he's getting really his first semi-extended run with the Pirates. The only way you're going to find out about him is to have him do what JT Brubaker just did this year. Well, and ideally is still doing if his shoulder comes back clean. And that's go pitch. Pitch for a full year. Go through the ups and the downs, stretch the arm out, see how you bounce back when things don't go well, including injury-wise. The only way you're going to find that out with Wilson is to have him out there. If the worst thing that comes of Wilson is that he's that guy that we saw yesterday where he can get you a few good innings and whatever else here, I mean, there's value in that. You don't throw that out on the street, but you also don't build a contender around it. You would just start looking at him differently, and you would start weighing what he could do for you differently. And by that, I'm referring once again to his arsenal lining up better as being a reliever than as a starter. When we come back, just one question. Welcome back. It's time for Just One Question, and that's brought to you on this program always by the North Shore Tavern. That's right across Federal Street from PNC Park. Open on game days, open on non-game days. Home of steak on a stone and other foods on a stone. This, for anybody who hasn't experienced it, well, let's just say that it actually is an experience. It really is. The food, whether it's the steak or shrimp or other items that are offered, is brought to you on an 800-degree stone, which you obviously don't want to go touching. But you finish the cooking yourself. You work out the details, and that way, if it's not cooked to your liking, just look in the mirror. Usually, though, you'll find that you do pretty well. Visit North Shore Tavern right across Federal Street from PNC Park. Today's J1Q comes from Crid, who asks, what's your opinion/grade on Oscar Marine's performance this year? I'll give him a C-. I think you're being way too nice. To me, the job of the major league pitching coach is to improve the Major League pitching staff. And I understand and respect that Marine is responsible, as the Pirates have made clear, for the pitching philosophy that governs really the whole system. And that doesn't mean that he can be in Greensboro and Bradenton on a given night and give tips. It doesn't even mean that he's got time to be sitting there going through video. But it does mean that he has a way of thinking of things or addressing issues or offering advice that's expected to be adhered to throughout all levels of the organization. But even then, at the end of the day, he's got to get maximum results out of the pitchers in Pittsburgh. You're not going to be able to pull it off with everybody. Not all athletes like to be coached or trained. Not all athletes can be figured out. Not all athletes have the ability, the innate ability, to succeed against the best of the best. But that's his charge. That's where he should get graded. And who is it on this staff, to borrow this term again and again and again from Ben Cherington, and his own charge for everyone in the organization, who got better? Who's getting better? Tyler Anderson? Tyler Anderson's kind of a completed product. You can offer tips and so forth, but you didn't make something out of him. Who else? Mitch Keller? Did Keller get better in Pittsburgh? Or did Joel Hanrahan get him fixed while he was down in Indianapolis? I don't know. Who's the best pitcher on the Pirates staff for 2021? To me, it's a no-brainer. It's absolutely David Bednar. And although Derek Shelton gave a little bit of praise to both Marine and Justin Message, the bullpen coach, for the curveball that Bednar's been able to develop over the course of the year, in which he used to end the game yesterday, by the way, which is an unbelievably great hook that he laid into Jacob Stallings' mitt. But if Bednar is your very best pitcher over the course of the year, what's that saying about your starters? We saw early on JT Brubaker do some good things. Then we saw JT Brubaker give up 100 home runs. Who's left? Who's there that you say, wow, man, that Oscar Marine, he really made a difference with that guy? That's my grade would be equivalent to what the Pirates did on the field. That would be an F. The Pirates have some of the worst pitching in all of baseball overall. You can say that that's unfair on my part. I really don't care. That's an F. If you don't give out an F to some of the worst pitching in baseball, what do you even have an F for? So I'm going with a hard F here, and we'll see what he can do in the future once he does get some better talent along the way, and maybe he'll have more success in making them better than he did, because he didn't make these guys better. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We'll do another one of these tomorrow.